Now
on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 6:06 on this Tuesday morning. It's the final day of 2024, December 31st. And boy, oh boy, are we ready to hit the ground running for 2025 with a brand new administration coming in, a brand new Senate majority with a brand new Senate majority leader. If you care about American politics, this is an exciting time to be alive. But we're still doing some reflection on 2024 as well. And to help us in that endeavor at 7:05, James Rosen, Newsmax senior White House correspondent, will join us. At 8:05, John Solomon from Just the News. And then at 8:35, we'll speak with our buddy Kurt Schlichter, columnist at Town Hall, lawyer, retired colonel from the Army, author extraordinary, all-around good guy. It's Larry O'Connor. Also with an all-around good guy, Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning. Good morning. Glad to be here.
Now, I used to think of Havana syndrome as that thing you experience as you're trying to make it through customs, knowing that you've got about half a dozen Cuban cigars in your luggage. And
Sure.
You don't want to be caught because you were just down in the Caribbean and you can get Cuban cigars there. You want to bring some back, and it's like, please don't let me be caught with these. I don't need this in my life. Although my understanding is if you just have a handful of Cuban cigars, the customs agents confiscate them and they let you go on your way. And, oh, by the way, if you really want to enjoy a good Cuban cigar, just, befriend a customs agent because they've got a great collection
I bet.
back home after
Sure.
those aforementioned confiscations. That said, Havana syndrome takes on a whole new meaning when you talk about this, what they're referring to as an AHI, an anomalous health incident. Boy, you gotta love government language, right?
Yeah.
An anonymous health incident, a disputed medical condition reported primarily by U.S. diplomatic intelligence and military officials stationed in overseas locations. It began in Cuba, and that's why it's called Havana syndrome. And the official position of the U.S. government is this thing is not real.
Right.
But it is. It is, if you ask anybody who suffers from it. Catherine Herridge, investigative reporter, now doing all of her work on X, the Everything app. She has a CIA whistleblower who has come forward, revealed her name, her identity, and here's a little bit of what she had to say.
You were attacked.
Yes.
You were attacked by an energy weapon.
Yes, a directed energy weapon. My ear started hurting. I started having vertigo. The room was spinning. My head started pulsing. Like, it hurt so badly. And I had a ton of pain in my left ear. And my ears started ringing. And I thought I was going to pass out. I was serving in Africa, and I experienced an anomalous health incident in my home on a Saturday night. And I heard a weird noise. It was a really weird sound that I'll never forget it. And after about a second or two, I felt it in my feet, kind of like the reverb from a speaker.
This government record says that you have a traumatic brain injury.
I believe the Russian GRU came to my house late at night and took me off the battlefield.
Russian intelligence.
Yes.
It's an amazing report, and it goes on and on. Catherine Herridge, of course, one of the most respected investigative reporters in Washington, D.C. You know she's respected because CBS News fired her and treated her like garbage.
Right.
So she's got to be good. We also had a bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee report from last week slamming the CIA for its treatment of patients like this. A woman who's referring to herself as Alice, but she did go on camera and shows her identity. The Senate Intelligence Committee slammed the CIA for treating patients with the Havana syndrome, saying that many individuals faced obstacles to timely and sufficient care. The report outlined 11 recommendations for the CIA to have established clear and documented policies, guidance, and criteria for how it refers anonymous health incident reports to facilitated treatment programs. In other words, the CIA is basically saying it's all in your head. Go away. It's like, but then you actually do objective medical treatments, as you saw from Catherine. She has a medical report saying I have a traumatic brain injury,
and she. It's not as though this woman was in a car accident.
Right.
This just happened. She wasn't attacked. She wasn't hit on the head, but she has a traumatic brain injury. I think this is also a story about independent journalism, the strength of independent journalism. Because, by the way, Catherine Herridge sort of releases this interview, and now it's news. There have been people talking about this for many, many years. But, she finds a victim of this. She finds someone willing to go on the record, or whistleblower, and exposes it. No other media has had the courage to do this.
She also has a letter from the Office of Undersecretary of Defense, Shannon O'Haran, Brigadier General Shannon O'Haran of the Air Force, saying in the letter, "We believe your experiences are real. Rest assured, we are continuing our efforts to investigate the cause of AHIs and to care for and treat you with respect and compassion." So they're acknowledging that it's real. They're acknowledging that something has gone on, but I don't understand why they would cover this up, other than they know exactly what it is, they know exactly who did it, but they don't want to reveal that for whatever national security reasons, or maybe because they have the same kind of weapon and they've been using it.
Well, yeah, and we have compassion. We think it's real, but if you could just shut up is the answer. What kind of compassion is that?
But if Russian spies are injuring, damaging, attacking our agents, our State Department and CIA officials in the field, we're just going to look the other way. We're not saying anything about it. We aren't doing anything about it. Last I checked, 51 intelligence community officials didn't hesitate to falsely accuse Russia of planting the Hunter Biden story. That you can't shut them up about saying Russia's doing this and Russians doing that. Here, Russia's really doing something, and they all are whistling past the graveyard.
We have a major recruiting problem in this country in the military. People just do not want to serve, right? And when you read stories like this, potentially Americans having a directed energy weapon directed at them, injuring them, causing brain injury, and then the CIA covers it up. I mean, is there any wonder people don't want to serve this government, don't want to defend their country through the military or through some of these federal agencies? Why would you, if you're going to be gaslit and the American public lied to? It's terrifying. This is terrifying. These weapons potentially being used against them are terrifying. But it's the government reaction, the U.S. government reaction to this is terrifying and unpatriotic.
Well, and frankly, the other thing that's terrifying is if they do have a weapon like this, it doesn't necessarily have to be isolated to diplomats serving at our embassies overseas or CIA officials who are posing as diplomats serving overseas. They could have them in our neighborhoods. They could be using it against us.
Exactly. And it makes you realize why they don't want Tulsi Gabbard, why they don't want Kash Patel, why they don't want these people in charge of these agencies who might actually get to the bottom of this. Makes it very clear why the Democrats do not want these people anywhere near authority.
Yeah. Alice, the person who spoke out, says she believes several different concealed weapons could be behind the strange symptoms experienced by herself and many of her colleagues, by the way, from the U.S. and Canada. Thank you very much. She said, quote, "I think there are weapons that can be fit in backpacks, ones that can be fit in the trunks of cars, ones that can be planted at a position with line of sight of people from across the street. And I believe that it's Russian military intelligence. I was paid to meet with foreigners and get information that would help advance U.S. security objectives, and I can't do that anymore the way I used to. And that's one of the hardest parts." She was a dedicated servant to the CIA. And you're right. They don't want Tulsi, and they don't want Kash Patel, and they don't want John Ratcliffe. But guess what? That's exactly who they're going to get. And hopefully we can actually finally clean this stuff up and get to the truth. Hopefully. It's 6:15, WMAL. Great job, Catherine Herridge, by the way. Great job. And you should subscribe to her work on X, the Everything app. 6:15. It just sounds weird to say, I read this on X, or he posted on X. It's like, and then you have to fall all over yourself to explain what you mean when you say X, formerly Twitter or whatever. So that's why I'm taking to calling it X, the Everything app, because that's what Elon called it.
It sounds good.
It's X, the Everything app. It is everything. It's for posts, it's for articles, it's for subscriptions, it's for videos, it's for pictures, it's everything.
And they're talking about expanding it into emails now, and
That's right.
Would you get an X email account? I would.
Sure. I need another inbox
you
that's
even
full
have
of
a
100,000. I got 2 Teslas. You betcha.
That's right.
Anytime.
That's right.
Let's go, baby. Elon still won't pay attention to me. District of Columbia U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves announced yesterday that he is resigning. This is cut 6 here with the big announcement.
We're following some breaking news out of D.C. U.S. Attorney for D.C. Matthew Graves says he is stepping down next month. Graves' office is in charge of prosecuting adult crimes in the district. His last day will be a few days before President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration. In a statement this afternoon, he said in part, quote, "Serving as the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia has been the honor of a lifetime. I am deeply thankful for Congresswoman Holmes Norton for recommending me, to President Biden for nominating me, and to Attorney General Garland for placing his trust in me." Graves has been in the role for roughly 3 years now, and his last day is January 16th. No word, though, on who will take Graves' place under the Trump administration.
Yeah.
By the way, his last day would have been January 21st had he not stepped down, because I assure you he was top of the list of U.S. attorneys to be fired by the incoming regime.
Yeah, let's just little edit on that that report there where he said he was in charge of prosecuting the crimes that happened in the District of Columbia. He let almost every crime go except January 6th, except those that happened on January 6th. And I think, I don't know one person who doesn't think January 6th was horrible and it was unfortunate, but they have gone after these people who wandered into open doors, held open by police officers, people who were on the lawn who never even went into the Capitol building. I mean, the overreach, the abuse that we've seen from Graves' office is astonishing. I'm glad to see him go. But again, really kind of, as someone who drives into the city several times a week and sees really the city has gone to crap. It is, and the attacks and the carjackings and the murders in the city, the assaults, the rapes, I can go on. And he's let all of that go and has been completely distracted by January 6th.
67% of arrests made of individuals on violent criminal offenses. I'm not talking about jaywalking. I'm not talking about, neglecting parking tickets. I'm not talking about ignoring speed camera violations. No. Violent criminal arrests in D.C. over the last 3+ years under Matthew Graves, 67% of them were not prosecuted. 2/3 of violent arrests in Washington, D.C. went unprosecuted. And yet, you're right, absolute Javert-like obsession with January 6th. The man is an absolute disgrace. But I assure you, had Kamala Harris won, Matthew Graves would have been her attorney general. He is a hero to Democrats. He is a hero to the left. And he has stepped down. You're going to see other assistant U.S. attorneys in the District of Columbia office stepping down, and they're all going to get fantastic jobs on K Street. They're all going to be millionaires for their job in wielding the cudgel of the federal government against January 6 protesters and keeping the myth alive that this was an insurrection. And I remind you again, after all of those arrests, after all of those prosecutions that Matthew Graves will claim as his lasting legacy, he thinks it's in a good way. I agree it's his legacy, but not so positive. I will remind you that the number of individuals arrested for insurrection against the federal government continues to tally at 0. They will call it an insurrection. They will say Donald Trump led an insurrection and inspired an insurrection and agitated for an insurrection and incited an insurrection, and yet somehow they can't bring it upon themselves to bring a charge of insurrection against any of these individuals. Matthew Graves is an absolute disgusting individual, frankly, if I can say it in no uncertain terms. And I got to say, I'll hand it to him here. At least he reads the room and recognizes that it's probably better for him to go out early than get fired by Trump and Pam Bondi, the new attorney general. Let me ask you this, though. Do you think this is a move to get one of those coveted preemptive pardons that Joe Biden and his administration has been suggesting he'd put out?
Possibly. I mean, it's really important to know that Matthew Graves and his wife, Fatima Goss Graves, she's a political activist. She's head of the Women's Law Center, National Women's Law Center. She has been
Which is really just keep abortion legal up until the moment of birth.
Yeah. Well, probably. At this point, they're probably
beyond.
up until 5 years old. But it's they are. You could not get a more sort of left-leaning activist couple, and he has destroyed D.C. By his, like you said, Javert obsession with January 6th at the cost of local crime in D.C. And again, his wife is an activist. These people are as swampy as they come. So I think you're right. This could be his attempt to get sort of a
preemptive pardon.
A preemptive pardon.
Well, he didn't get the job as Attorney General, so the best he can hope for is that pardon. And, of course, the multi-million-dollar job on K Street as a lawyer. And I'm thinking legal analyst for MSNBC, right up there with Andrew Weissman.
Yes, of course.
Failing upwards. It's 6:23.
Coming up, we'll have more on resignations and Trump appointments. And at 7 o'clock, James Rosen, Newsmax senior White House correspondent, will discuss the passing of President Carter and the latest Biden news. Keep it here. It's 6:30.
It's 6:36, don't you know? And it's O'Connor and Company here on the 31st day of December. Many refer to it as New Year's Eve, as today is the last day of the year, and tomorrow would be New Year's Day, the first day of the new year. It's just a construct. It's just a calendar thing. It doesn't actually mean a new year. Every day is the beginning of a new year, if you think about it in those terms, but it's what we acknowledge, and we like it. It's 7:05, James Rosen, Newsmax senior White House correspondent. 8:05, John Solomon from Just the News. And 8:35, Kurt Schlichter, author of The Attack and senior columnist at Town Hall. I'm Larry O'Connor. And that right there is Julie Gunlock. Happy New Year to you, Julie Gunlock.
Happy New Year.
Do you hate when people do what I just did, which is, the New Year isn't really a new year. It's like you could pick any day of the year to be the beginning.
It's somewhat
or
reassuring. I mean, I think you can approach New Year's Eve with a sense of excitement. It's a new year starting, and I'm not one for resolutions, but you do think about, okay, this is a new start. It's a new year. It's a fresh time, but it can also be you look back and go, did I do everything I wanted to do this year? So
sure,
I like
absolutely.
I like your approach a little bit because it's a little bit reassuring, that every day is a new day. But,
exactly. This is my favorite thing about New Year's Day is that when you set January 1st as the New Year's Day and you just said resolutions, right? You do you spend a month thinking up all your resolutions and all the things you're going to do to improve yourself, improve your life, improve your finances, improve your health, improve your family life, improve your spiritual life, whatever it is. You think all those things. And it really serves as a construct to get all your bad behaviors out of the way for that. All right, I've got 2 more weeks to be terrible. I've got 2 more weeks to be an alcoholic. I got 2 more weeks to be obese, right? And not pray and all that. It's like, why not start today? That's why we've begun our yogurt making routine.
I'm kind of impressed that you started early. I think a lot of people are
we decided, let's just start on Monday
tonight and tomorrow, and then
we got back from all of our travels, and we traveled so much in December. We got back on Sunday night, and we said, you know what? Let's just aim for Monday. Now, here's something that I'm doing differently this year, and I would love for you, if you want to chime in on this at X, the Everything app. Please reach out to us. I'm sure you're following either way, Julie Gunlock, Larry O'Connor, or WMAL, because I'm doing something a little different this year, Julie, with my New Year's resolutions. I know that you're supposed to find things to improve and commit to things that will make you a better person. And I am actually, for the first time in my life, I am resolved to take up a vice.
Really? What?
I am. Everybody... think about this. Everyone's saying, you know what? Starting on New Year's Day, I'm going to quit smoking. Right? That used to be a big. People don't really smoke the way they used to.
Yes.
It's like, all right, that's it. So you get in your last few packs of filterless Lucky Strikes or
right.
Camels and whatever. And it's like, all right, that's it. I'm quitting.
Reds.
I'm going cold turkey.
Yes.
I'm going to quit smoking. This New Year's, starting tonight, in fact, I am taking up smoking. Well, sort of.
You're smoking brisket.
No. I've actually, it is a tobacco-oriented thing. I do, if any children are listening, smoking cigarettes.
Is it snus?
smoking cigarettes is not good for you. And they're addictive, and it's bad for your health and everything. And smoking in general is not great for your health. But there are gradations of this vice. And I do believe smoking, an occasional cigar is not like going through a pack a day of cigarettes, right?
Absolutely.
And Meredith and I do. She smokes cigars. She likes her cigars, and we like cigars. And we probably have one or two cigars a month, and we enjoy it very much. Mm-hmm. And it's just a pleasure, and we recognize it's probably not the best thing, but also compared to smoking a pack a day, it's not a horrible thing, right? You got to pick and choose these pleasures. Right. Well, starting tonight, I am taking up a new hobby. Don't judge me. I know that face. I am going to begin smoking a pipe.
No, first of all. No, I'm sorry, but if you missed the earlier part of the show, Larry also said that he's starting to make his own yogurt. So of course I'm conflating them, because all I now can imagine is you making yogurt with a pipe in your mouth.
With a pipe hanging out of
First of all, I do not agree with the yogurt making. I think it's a waste of time, especially when they're like 79 cents in the grocery store.
It's a hobby. Yogurt. It's like saying making a model airplane is a waste of time. You can just buy the airplane.
Whatever. That's not true. They don't have air. They don't have full. Anyway, so that's not a good analogy. But I think this is great, and I think.
Do you think I'm a pipe guy though? There are pipe guys.
Yeah, I think you have a certain Gandalf quality to you that
not Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, you have you wear glasses sometimes, and you look very professorial sometimes.
All right, so I got two options here. I'm going to show you my pipe options here. So these are both gifts. Now,
is that a corn cob?
That is a corn cob pipe, baby. That is old school hillbilly Midwest.
Oh, my word.
Right?
Look
There's my little pipe there.
I do.
I like the corn cob, and I think that's a good starter pipe. I've been told a good corn cob pipe is a good way to start.
I feel like it's very J.D. Vance-ish.
You know what? You're right. J.D. Vance's mammy, actually. Mamaw.
Yeah. I think his papa probably had one of those.
Did he have the corn cob? All right, so I got a corn cob pipe option, and then I've got this baby. This was a gift.
Now that's elegant.
This is from my future son-in-law. It is a Shire pipe.
One is Hillbilly Elegy and one is Tolkien. Yes.
This is literally this is described as a Shire pipe. It's very long, and it's two-tone wood, and it's got a carving. That's the tree. It's not the Tree of Gondor. Yeah, it is the Tree of Gondor from Lord of the Rings.
I was right.
It is literally Tolkien. Yes, that is the Tree of Gondor. Which, by the way, also resembles the oak tree on the O'Connor family crest, going back to the old country.
Look at you! You're so fancy.
It's my future son-in-law is like, he obviously put in a lot of thought into this for my Christmas present.
Sweet gift.
I know. Well, he's still sucking up. He hasn't married my daughter yet, so he's got to go the extra mile. So I'm going to start smoking tobacco. Let's just be clear. It's pipe tobacco. None of that funky stink weed or anything. And I'm going to give you a full report. But reach out to me. If you are a pipe smoker, I encourage your recommendations. In fact, I'm begging your recommendations.
You need to put pictures of this on Twitter.
Of my, all right.
Of both pipes.
All right.
Yeah.
My corn cob and my...
I'm sorry, did I say Twitter? On X.
X, the everything app.
That's right. Sorry about that.
And reach out and give me your recommendations for good pipe tobacco and how to do this. I mean, I'm told, unlike a cigar, see, this is why pipes are cool, is that you can just do a little bowl at a time and then you're done.
Right.
Like when you smoke a cigar, you're committed to a good 30, 40-minute experience, but not with the pipe. And I want to be able to sort of grab a bowl here and there and just enjoy and relax.
Very
and
nice.
Sort of, and look at me, I'm already gesturing with it. It's already part of my... I might have to do it during the show, right?
You are
we have a tobacco
smarter.
policy.
You're getting smarter.
Don't I look wise?
Yes, you do.
It's 6:44.
Miss anything? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Get today's breaking news on the Vince Colonnese Show, weekdays 3 to 6, right here on WMAL.
Julie Gunlock, one of the things that we love doing on this program is making fun of Hilaria Baldwin. Now, I'll never forget when I went down the rabbit hole on Hilaria Baldwin, because I didn't know anything about Alec Baldwin's wife. She's a social media influencer. She does yoga videos on Instagram,
She's
mostly
had
because
17
she's got
children. Yes.
she's got 18 children. She's got a tight little yoga body, and she wears tight little yoga pants, and then contorts herself into various Cirque du Soleil pretzel-like positions, which of course is the way to become a social media influencer on Instagram. Sure. Try it out, everybody. Yeah. Anyway, but my favorite thing about her is she pretends to be Spanish. She's from Boston. She calls herself Hilaria. Yeah. Her name is Hillary. Yeah. All right. And you'll remember on the Today Show back when she was trying to present this phony, I'm really Latina kind of thing, she pretended she didn't know the word for cucumber.
Very few ingredients. We have tomatoes. We have, how do you say it? Cucumbers.
How do you say in English? ¿Cómo se dice? Cucumber.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so now that was years ago, and we have roundly mocked her and made fun of her, and but apparently it hasn't taken hold, because here she is on a brand new Instagram video where she's doing some more cooking.
She's making a Spanish tortilla. She's making a Spanish tortilla, I can tell.
Thank you. And she pretends not to know how to say onion.
Potatoes, you have to not cut them too tiny because they're not going to have the right texture. And then my husband hates cebolla. I forgot it. Okay. Cebolla. So he hates cebolla. And
she's such a fake. She grew up in Boston and she's acting like she doesn't know the word for onion. Como se dice onion? Cannot stand her.
The only thing that brings me more joy of Hillary Baldwin pretending to be Latina, is knowing that Alec Baldwin for the rest of his life has to live with this nutcase. And at this point, she drives him absolutely up the wall.
Oh, well, maybe he's kind of nuts too. I mean, come on, he killed a woman.
It's right, I forgot. He's a homicidal maniac.
Yes, exactly.
Como se dice manslaughter?
Murderer?
6:52. Coming up in our 7 o'clock hour, we're going to kick things off with Newsmax senior White House correspondent James Rosen about all of his colleagues sort of wringing their hands. Gee, we sure missed that Joe Biden mental decline story. Did they? Also, the new Trump cabinet is under strict orders now. No more posting on social media. Wait, Trump said that? Trump? All right, we'll get to it next.